Hello YouTube artists, I'm Kelly Hernig and welcome to In the Studio. Today I'm going to share 10 ways to fill a sketchbook and how they've helped me along the way, what I've learned, how I've grown, and just simple things make the biggest difference. Here are some of the sketchbooks that I'm going to be sharing, so let's get started. Number 1. A continuous exercise to learn what your color palette can do for you, experimenting with 3 colors, and then creating something simple to see them in action. It's one thing to do colors, but you have to see how they mingle with each other. Yes, this shows you a little bit, but water makes a huge bit of difference. Colors make a difference because some are granulating, some are really pushy. When you're playing with colors like this, it's nice to just grab 3 colors from your palette and see what they will do. This taught me the most in my watercolor journey so far. Just playing with colors and watching them work together. It has made a huge difference in the way that I approach color because I'm not afraid anymore. This has shown me every color works with every color, and you just need to be brave and try it. It's that simple. Continuous. I wanted to fill a sketchbook, so I got used to doing it and not being afraid, not holding my breath like, is this going to work or is it not? So I want you to just remember that 3 colors will change your world and will make you look at objects differently and colors differently. I mean, who knew yellow, red, and this blue would create such beautiful effects here? Number 2 is one subject, multiple ways. The simple pair. Here what I was trying to do is establish volume and depth, dimension, a little bit of texture to see what colors I really liked playing with. So you can see here it's more straight up. I'm starting to lean a little bit. I'm playing with white space. See that I didn't leave much here. I started to leave a little bit of patches here. On the next couple, I've really left some open white spaces. Here I left a soft edge here. Soft meaning that it kind of fades into the paper, where a harder edge is more distinct. So giving yourself time to just play and explore with one little element. I did this over several days just because I was thinking about it, like what can I do next to kind of change that? How can I make it different from the first one? How can I change the colors? You can see here I used more of a greenish brown. Here I used more of a reddish brown, just to kind of play with colors and to see what I liked better. Number 3. Creating from inspiration online. This was from a stylist guide on Instagram. I just really love the photo that she shared. It was a cropped photo, but I liked this dirtiness down here. I liked how the tubes looked like they were old and worn, and I just added it taller to make it have the word inspired. And then I decided to do a palette off of those tubes just so that I could remember what colors I actually used in here. Here I was trying to add depth and dimension and a little bit of grunge because all of this here just looked dirty, like they were uncovered in a old storage facility, and I wanted to see if I could figure out how to do that, and I was really pleased with this. Does it look like the photo? Absolutely not, but for me it achieved what I was looking for, which was texture and grunge and the effect of it looking old yet having all of these beautiful layers in the background. Number 4, creating your own still life. So this I actually just set up on my desk. This is an old leaf with Chinese lanterns, the little seed pods, and I set them up and I just started painting. I really was loving the colors of the orange and the yellows, and then with this leaf and how the orange reflected under the leaf here. So this is actually the shadow of the leaf. And I liked how they mingled. I liked that you couldn't discern one leaf from the shadow. And it had this really hard edge under the Chinese lanterns. I liked that this one was kind of off kilter. When I was doing this, I was really nervous because I was like, oh, I hope I can make this work, because this one back here, I was really attracted to this one, but I knew I had to keep your focus here. So I kept this just lighter and not as detailed as I did these up close. So it gave me a way to just play with my own kind of setup. And here were the color mixes that I used so that I can remember that. Setting up something and doing it from your own subjects, I think make it more personal, and I think you take time to explore it a little bit more. And this is one of my favorite pieces in this book. It took me probably an hour to figure it out, but I absolutely love the results in there. And it's something that I created with my own hands from start to finish. Number 5 is testing ideas, colors, textures. I was working on a class, so I wanted to figure out how to do it before I actually did it in class. So this was actually, all these little lines were done with a pipette full of water first, and then I just kind of dipped the paint into it and watched it kind of go down in the watered areas. Here I was trying it with some more granulating colors. Here I was trying it with just a little, like a warm and a cool color. So I did a brown here and a blue, and I like the depth it had here more than here. This just gave me several values, where this gave me a lot more interest with more intricate values. Here I was playing with textures and colors. What did I want the catalpa pod to look like? So I drew 3 beans the same with ink, and I gave them 3 different ways to try it. Here's a little more wash, here's a little more concentration, and here it is filling it. And then I left the color swatches here so that I knew what I did with that. This is more preparation for a class. I was experimenting with taking a straw and blowing out the color and seeing what would happen. Here I got thinner lines, so that was me blowing through the straw a lot faster. Here I was being a little more deliberate on how I move the water. And I really like both techniques because they give you something different. These are really fine. These are a lot heavier. So let me show you that. See the lines off to the edge? And then these are thicker lines here. So just playing with them and practicing and getting a hang on the techniques. Those were something that I really enjoyed doing. That was number 5. Number 6 is in this gigantic Strathmore Mixed Media page. And this is all about following YouTube. I was following the artist Lou Davis here on YouTube, and she does beautiful patterns. And I don't really do patterns or experiment like this with different colors to try creating a palette to also play with colors. So you can see here I went pink and then I went out further with the greens. All of these designs on these 2 pages were done with the same colors because I wanted them to kind of look unique. Here's another page with different colors. But I love the way that it's coming out, and her techniques are really interesting. And it's something that when I looked at them, I'm like, can I really do that? I don't know, it looks complicated, but she breaks it down in such a great way that I just had fun playing. Here's some more. Here I took one of her little areas and made it really big to just kind of fill a page. I love the little marks that she did here. Here I was playing with some rocks, so I just did it in the same color to kind of make it feel like that. So next time you see something on YouTube that you love, pull out one of your sketchbooks and just start playing. That's exactly what I did here. And I loved experimenting in this way, especially in this large format, which I usually don't let myself do. Number 7 is subject exploration. This, I wanted to just connect with my outside area. So I wanted to do some pencil. I wanted to do some lettering. I wanted to do bird studies. I wanted to look at their colors. So here you can see that I've done one in pencil here, and then I've added the colors that I felt were important. And then here's actually the colors of the bird. So by experimenting this way, I got to experiment with seed pods. I got to experiment with birds in the garden, more seed pods. I found a box of minerals, which I thought was fantastic, and playing with the colors. It really taught me about values, because when you're looking at a flat rock, you have to look for what stands out and what doesn't. Again, one of my favorite birds, the nuthatch. I like it because it goes up and down the tree like this, so I wanted to really showcase its form this way. the robin, our first bird of spring. And I always get excited whenever I see this bright orange breast running around the yard. I know spring is here. So doing something a little different gives me another way to practice my drawing, to work with some pencils, and then just do a little bit of color so that I remember what I loved about the subject that I was looking at. Number 8 is taking inspiration from books and magazines. So here I was using magazines that I had cut out, and I took their inspiration and tried to copy it the best I could, the area that I really liked. So I was really intrigued by the wire wrapped around this object. What I learned from here, then I took it to my own page and did my own design. And here I used the masking fluid to create lines, not like the wire, but lines here that I could give shadow to and depth. And that's what I was trying to achieve, is the dimension that I got from the wire. This was done all about layers, and then I created my own design with different layers and different things that I have to see if I could create the depth and dimension that I was getting for here. Here's a really pale one that I really love, this ribbon through here. So putting together just a little bitty still life here, using that ribbon to see if I could get the same softness and the same feel, but yet my own. So this was from magazines. And this one here, it was all about books, trying different techniques. Like this technique I pulled from a collage soup book. I really liked that because it was letting me try textures that I wouldn't have thought of with all these little circles. You can see all those little circles up there. And it was just a fun thing to experiment with. Here was working on an abstract, and it was okay, but I gave myself permission to try it again in more of my colors. So here is the same exact thing, but done in softer colors, more muted tones, and not as harsh as this one seemed to me. This one seems softer and more like me, and I really enjoyed having the comparison of the two and giving yourself permission to play again and try it again. Because although I loved the technique here and I liked the results, it just didn't feel like me. So just giving it a new color palette, it made me feel like, okay, that one feels like me a little bit more. Being okay with trying something over and over until you're happy with it, I think that we need to do more of that. No judging, just keep practicing. Okay, number 9 is working on different styles and trying things. I'm trying to be a little more illustrative this year, trying to get away from realism and having a little softer look. So here I was just playing with, these were the color palettes, and I just had fun playing with making the mushroom top, adding a lot more paper, white of the paper, because that's one of my goals this year, but playing with the form here on the snail shell, playing with the stem, all the lines underneath, and letting just the potter's pink up here do its magic. I also played with this guy, and my idea here was to let some of the colors run into the background, giving him kind of a smoky appearance. You see how he's kind of lost this edge. Here he's got some blurriness here on his pants and his shoulder. And I like that. I wanted to give it a little more, a bigger appearance, a fatter appearance than what it actually was, to fill the page more. So letting myself play like that and experiment really gave me a nice direction to not be afraid to try something new and just run with it. Here was a new color palette, letting myself just play with the colors and create something, whatever I wanted, in a little more looser, illustrative style, not so perfect. In fact, this was just from my head, which was really nice. Usually I have a reference, so allowing myself to just be free to play and let the colors inspire me was really fulfilling, because it just let my imagination run wild, and I wasn't concerned with, well, our flower's really this color. I didn't care. I just wanted to put some colors from the palette onto the flowers and just play with the water and the white of the paper and see what would happen. And then this concertina let me find myself. as a storyteller, seeing myself evolve and get stronger with color, with composition, watching myself change from thinking always as a tomboy and letting me be a little more vulnerable, showing a little softer side of myself, exploring composition and design in new and exciting ways, letting myself embrace shapes that used to scare me, adding text and quotes is something that I normally didn't do, letting things just look as it's in process instead of being complete. You can see here I've even got loose lines, got some through here. This is an evolution of story and color. You can see it's quite soft. It gets even softer as I go. And then it starts to become bolder and richer, and I'm finding a little more fluid state. It's letting me become more vulnerable. It is letting you see a softer side of me. It's also exposing my heart and soul and what art does to me. This is a piece of my heart here. And that is what sketchbooks have done for me, is they've let me evolve and practice and experiment and play and grow and just be myself. What else can you find that lets you go through all of those changes with just paint and paper and a little bit of an idea? I hope you were inspired by these 10 ways to fill a sketchbook, and I hope you try them one at a time and see which one connects to you the best. Remember, paint and paper will always be there for you. You just have to open the book and just start. It's that easy. If you were inspired today by my sketchbooks, please leave me a comment. If you haven't subscribed, please press the button. And as always, thanks so much for watching.